Hey everybody, it's perfect. It just starts raining. It's kind of been like this all day actually. In Canada when it rains you start packing up your tools slowly, and in New Zealand when it rains you run. So we'll see how it goes. This is Bobby's tiny house here. I got this back wall in today, which is sweet. It's really showing how it is. And today was all about straightening and leveling and strapping the buildings. Because as we add more and more layers, we want to make sure that our base is square, level, and now that we've got our walls up, we've got to straighten them and strap them and make sure they're all good like that. Bobby's moving at a different pace, I guess, to Rose's, because again we had our walls pre-built. So we're just going to climb up here to the roof and show you what we got going on. I guess the first thing you see is chicken wire, which is kind of an interesting detail, and apparently it's fairly common in New Zealand to do this. And we've got this roof membrane going on, which is kind of thin but very good, and the chicken wire just holds that up from dipping down. We're not using plywood like you would in North America. And because we've got a nice slope, our building paper will be held up by the chicken wire or our roof felt, and then the metal's going to go right on top. So we've got concealed purling cleat CPC, which you can see right there. That's screwed into the top of the metal frame. I hope you could see that. Oh, sorry about that. That's giving us our hold down. And also right under there is DPC, so that we don't have any thermal bridging between our cold roof potentially, or our cold steel and our wood. If we have a thermal break, then the moisture can be mitigated a little bit so the timber doesn't rot. Our ceiling is Lawson Cypress, which is insanely strong timber. So that's why the low profile. Also we were looking at some weight issues, and the span's not so bad. We've doubled up our rafters where we've got these big skylights, and the curb has been built because we need to put the roof down, which has a profile, and then the skylight has to sit on top of that. So we'll get into some of that flashing detail and stuff later. The walls have all been straightened or checked for square, and we'll wrap this one tomorrow. One actually other thing for wrapping is, where do we have them? We've got these little sticky things because you can't hammer tap, tack or staple building wrap onto a metal building. Rose's was kind of the same, so it's funny, Rose's, let's say half the size if we include the square footage of the loft or the square meter of the lofts. And it's moving along nicely. The roof's obviously not done, but it's way more complex as soon as you add some curves and circles to buildings. Well, I'm sure you get it. We had these blocks put in which match the profile of our bottom plate and our steel, and they follow all the way up, and so that was part of leveling off this building. These are just roughed in, I guess, but we also have metal bracing, which is creating our shear wall. In North America we use plywood, Australia and New Zealand it's strapping, and the engineering's the same. We're just holding this wall rigid with that strap. It's not exactly the correct material because of its gauge for our tie downs, but it's pretty good. We've got 6 cleats or roofing nails in here, which is an insane amount of shear strength right there, and then we've got a metal screw in here and a metal screw from the underside, so that strap goes under the house. What else did we do on Rose's? We did a bunch of blocking here. This is where our siding is going to change, that's why we have 2. So from here down is going to be mini orb or corrugated, like a thin profile corrugated iron. And we've got attachment for a flashing, and then also for our vertical cryptomeria or Japanese cedar. What else do we do here? There was a lot of going on the inside. Maybe a little bit more of a figuring day than a doing day. But we do have our rafters set, and these rafters are pretty beautiful, laminated, curved beams by this ex-Greenpeace guy who's got a beautiful little eco-village up the road. Don. We've also got tiny little rafters for our deck, which don't look really strong, but up here we've got quite thick TNG oak floor, which is really strong. So this is ready. The floor's going to go in tomorrow. The rafters will get put in tomorrow now that we've done the thinking part of that. And I think that's about it. We've got our strapping, our tensioning, our squaring. The whole building's set now. So I think by the end of tomorrow this one will be wrapped up as well, which is kind of nice because the rain's been coming in and out. And that's day 4. I'm heading down to the pub to see a friend play a gig, and that's where everyone else from the workshop is right now. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.